Wait before you toss that dime into a jar or spin on a vending machine. Stop and take a closer look because your 1995 US dime just might be hiding a small fortune. Yes, the 1995 Roosevelt dime, seemingly a common coin, could, in the right set of circumstances, be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. This is Treasure Finds, and today we're diving into exactly what makes the 1995 dime potentially valuable, the errors and varieties you need to look for, real sale examples, and how you can spot one yourself. Ready? Let's go. The 1995 dime was minted while the U.S. Mint was in full swing, producing millions and millions of Roosevelt dimes each year. At face value, it's 10 cents. And for the vast majority of them, that's all they're worth. But what makes any ordinary coin become a sought-after treasure are the mistakes, the anomalies, the little quirks that escape quality control and get into circulation. And the 1995 dime has some of those off-center strikes, missing clad layers, double die varieties, even incorrect planchets. These quirks are like numismatic gold mines. If you can spot them, let's start with the basics, the composition. By 1995, Roosevelt dimes were fully clad, made of a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel. No silver in the mainstream dimes of this period. That means any dime from 1995 that looks wrong in metal or weight automatically raises a red flag. But even if the metal is correct, errors in the striking process or die preparation can push value into rarer territory. One of the most well-documented error types for Roosevelt dimes, including 1995, is the missing clad layer error. In such a case, one of the bonded layers of copper nickel fails to properly attach, or a planchet is stripped of one of the outer layers. What you'll see is one side of the coin looking a weird reddish copper tone, or a rim with exposed copper, or even a significantly lighter/lower weight coin. For example, a 1995 D. Roosevelt dime described on eBay as missing clad layer 1.8 G, sold for about $249.50. eBay, so while that's not tens of thousands of dollars yet, for a dime it's a serious jump from 10 cents. Another error to watch, off-center strikes. When the coin blank is misaligned in the press, you'll see part of the design missing or a blank crescent of metal at the edge. On a 1995 dime, some off-center varieties, especially with still legible date and good eye appeal, are listed on eBay as struck 15% off-center, with asking prices of tens to hundreds of dollars. eBay, because the dime series isn't as heavily collected for key dates as older silver issues. Error examples like these can gain collector attention. The double die varieties are another key. When the hub or die is impressed twice or more, causing a doubling of letters, the motto, the date, or other design elements. While major large-scale double dies exist in older series, they're more rare in later clad series like 1995, but they do exist. A listing for a 1995 P. Roosevelt dime double die obverse appeared on eBay. eBay, according to Coin Era Guides, the dime series hosts varieties like this, and while they may not fetch five-figure sums yet, they're increasingly collecting interest. CoinHub Plus One, sometimes even a weak doubling, can push value into a few $100s, depending on grade and appeal. Here's another one. Wrong planchet error. While rare for dimes of this era, the highest value error coins sometimes involve being struck on a blank intended for another denomination, for example a nickel or cent blank, or on a blank missing the proper clad layers. In one instance, a coin listed for a 1995 D dime struck with cent obverse die on Heritage Auctions indicated the dime planchet was smaller and used the dime reverse, but with a cent die. Heritage Auctions, that kind of error is extremely rare and commands serious collector attention. Now let's talk realistic values and what you might expect if you find one of these. According to gray sheet values for the 1995 dime, standard uncirculated, it lists something like MS, mint state, values from roughly 30 cents to $27 for the 1995 P regular. GraysHET.com, but when you get into the full bands, FB, reverse variety, where the torch's horizontal bands are fully struck, you see values on the 1995 PFB up to $1,500 in the listing. That means if your coin has a special strike quality and error attribute, the value jumps significantly. GrazeHET.com on eBay. Those missing clad layer 1995 DMS 64 coins have been listed for nearly $250. So the point is, the value boost comes from error plus grade plus rarity plus eye appeal. Let's pause for a moment. But stay tuned, because up next we're going to go through how you evaluate your 1995 dime and what exactly to look for, so you don't miss a possible treasure in your pocket change. Transitioning now, you've learned why the 1995 dime can be worth big money, and you know which types of errors to look for. Now let's put that knowledge into action. How to inspect your coins, how to sort through change, and how to decide whether a coin is worth submitting for authentication and grading. Grab a jar of change, lay it out on a clean surface, and pull out every 1995 dime you come across. First step, weigh each one if you have a precise digital scale. A standard clad 1995 dime should weigh about 2.27 grams. If you find one that weighs significantly less, for instance around 1.8 grams in the listed missing clad error, or more, if something's weirdly thick, that's a red flag. For example, the 1.8 G missing clad layer listing. eBay make a note of it. Next, check the rim and edge. A normal dime has a reeded edge and the copper core visible in the middle layer, if viewed from a side. If you notice a rim that's smooth where it shouldn't be, or the edge looks odd, or you can see exposed copper in ways that don't align with normal wear, you may have a broad strike, missing clad layer, or planchet error. Then, examine both sides very closely under good lighting or a jeweler's loupe, 10 times recommended. Look for doubling on letters, date, motto, "In God We Trust." Specifically on the 1995 dime, watch for doubling that may appear in the word Liberty or on the date or mint mark area. Though the 1995 P has no mint mark, the 1995 D has D. Even slight doubling can raise value. And finally, check if the design looks shifted or part of it is cut off. This could be an off-center strike, that if you spot something that looks unusual, don't clean it. Don't tamper with it. Just photograph both sides, record the weight. The mint, look for D or P, and consider submitting it to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Certification greatly improves value. Buyers pay more for something authenticated. Returning to value. Let's say you find a 1995 D dime with a missing clad layer, good strike, minimal wear, maybe graded MS64 or higher. Based on that $249 sale, that's a 10-cent coin turning into a few $100s. Now imagine finding the double die or a planchet error. While I haven't seen a publicly documented sale of a 1995 dime hitting $5,000 or $10,000, coin value guide sites suggest that the full band's FB variety of 1995 P reaches up to $1,500 in higher grades. GrazeHET.com. And if you consider rarer anomaly errors like wrong planchet that are extremely rare, they could command even more. One listing of a unique 1995 planchet error referenced on Heritage indicated it was struck with cent obverse die and MS64 grade. Heritage auctions that kind of error could go for thousands with the right collector interest. It's also important to emphasize the rarity plus grade plus eye appeal concept. A 1995 dime in circulated condition, even if it has a slight error, might only fetch tens of dollars. But the moment you have little to no wear a clean strike, a certifiable error, you enter the hundreds or thousands zone. And history shows many big coin finds came from just flipping through change. What makes the 1995 dime stand out compared to most years? First, the sheer volume. Millions were minted, so the common coins flood the market, making the rare ones more noticeable. Second, the era. By the mid-1990s, the mint was very efficient, but because of the high volume and automation, the few mistakes that did slip through are relatively easier to spot and thus more collectible. Third, the error market for dimes is less saturated than for pennies or quarters. Some collectors actively look for rare dime errors because they're still under-collected, making opportunities better for you. And finally, the full band's FB, reverse designation for dimes, adds an additional premium. For the 1995 P, The FB variety shows up as valued up to $1,500 in MS grades. GraysHET.com. So if you combine error plus FB plus high grade, you have a golden trifecta. Now let's go through some hypothetical examples to help you visualize what could happen in your scenario. Suppose you pull out a 1995 P dime. You weigh it, and it comes in at 2.27 grams. Edge looks normal, but under loop you spot faint doubling in God We Trust. You submit it to PCGS, and it comes back as MS65 with DDO double die obverse. That coin, because of the rarity of DDO in that year and grade, could easily be valued at a few $100s, maybe more. Or imagine you pick up a 1995 D-dime that weighs 1.82 grams, has a reddish copper side where the nickel layer is missing and minimal wear. You submit it and PCGS grades it MS64, missing clad layer error. That opens you into the hundreds of dollars market already. In the very rare case you find a wrong planchet or a struck with cent obverse die variety, if grade and eye appeal are strong, you might enter the thousands. Here's another real-world example. A 1995 D-dime, listed with rim and planchet error sold / was listed for around US $599 on eBay. eBay, while listings don't always hit final sale, it shows collector interest, and paying definitely exists. So yes, the profits are real. Now, one caveat. While there are many listings of 1995 dime errors, common ones will still sell for modest amounts. The key is authenticity, condition, certification, and appeal. Some coins listed as errors turn out to be post-mint damage or alteration, not true mint errors. That's why using a reputable grader is so important. Also, keep in mind market conditions vary. What sells for $300 one year might sell for $200 the next if there's less buyer demand. But compared to a typical 10-cent coin, hundreds of dollars is a dramatic increase and worth your time to check. Let's recap what to look for in your 1995 dime. Weight, around 2.27 grams is standard. Significant deviation may signal error. Edge, check for exposed copper or other anomalies. Mint, 1995, P, Philadelphia, or a 1995 D, Denver. Some error listings say 1995 dime, no mint mark. Though that might be mislisted, always verify. Doubling, check Liberty, in God We Trust, the date. Missing clad layer. One side of coin discolored, copper showing, unusual metal appearance. Off center strike. Design shifted toward edge. Wrong planchet. Coin looks odd size / diameter compared to standard. Full bands, FB, reverse, on dimes. Especially the 1995 P. Look at the torch on the reverse. If the horizontal bands are fully separated and crisp, coin may qualify FB and gain premium. I appeal and grade. The better the condition, less wear, clear surfaces, no major marks, the higher the value. Documentation / certification. If unusual, consider submitting to PCGS or NGC for grading and attribution. Certification boosts market value to as we wrap up. Here's the exciting part. You don't need to go digging in the ground or spend hundreds of dollars to chase this treasure. Your opportunity could be right inside your pocket change or in a coin roll you picked up at the bank. That 1995 dime you overlooked might just be the one with the anomaly. The chance is small, but the payoff can be big. So here's your final rallying cry. Go through your coin jars, your loose dimes, your change from the week. Pull out every 1995 dime you find and inspect it. Use a magnifier, a scale, good light. Look for the clues we talked about. If something stands out, photograph it, do research, consider submitting it. Because every now and then a dime that costs someone 10 cents becomes their highlight find. Their collector's gem, their treasure that you've got the tools now. You know why the 1995 dime can be rare, what kinds of mistakes make it stand out, real examples of values and collector interest, and how to check your own. Now it's time to act. Check your pocket change. Go pull out those dimes. Who knows, you might be holding the one that someone else is hunting for. And that's the thrill of coin collecting. The hidden possibility that treasure is right there. On the next episode of Treasure Finds, we'll dive into another everyday coin that could hide extraordinary value. But for now, check your pocket change. You might be holding a fortune,